Pam Akas, furthermore, there was another time. We're speaking here where Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva were walking. They were walking through Yerushalayim. And Hoya'olil Yerushalayim, they took a walk through Yerushalayim. Kevan shehigiu lahar hatzofim. When they came to Har Hatzofim on Scopus, koru bigdeihem. They tore their clothing. That's the halacha. Kevan shehigiu lahar abayis. When they came to the Temple Mount, ro shual sheyotza mibeis kodeshei hakodeshim. They saw a fox that came out from what was once the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh Kedoshim of the Beis HaMikdash. And now a fox ambled out of it. Yischilu hein bochen, they began crying. Rabbi Akiva mitzachek. Rabbi Akiva laughed. Omrlo, they said to him, Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, and Rabbi Yeshua said to him, they were of course his Rabbeim. And they said to him, they said to him, how could you laugh at a time like this? You see a fox walking out, a wild animal walking out of a place that was once the Holy of Holies, how could you laugh? He said, why are you crying? So they said, they replied to him, which was a very reasonable reply. Makom shekosov bo. This is the place about which it is said, V'hazor hakorev yumas. If a non-Kohen enters, then he's put to death. V'achshav, and now shualim hilchu bo. And now foxes inhabit that place. It has become a den of foxes. It's just part of the wilderness. Nifka, shouldn't we cry at that? The Holy of Holies becomes a wilderness. So Rabbi Akiva replied, that's why I'm laughing. Dichsiv, because there's a pasuk. Pasuk is in Sefer Yeshaya. V'yo'ido li edim ne'monim. I am going to designate for myself faithful witnesses. Because Yeshayahu was the Navi of doom. We open with the words of Yeshayahu on the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av, Shabbos Chazon. Chazon Yeshayahu Veromotz. Yeshayahu was the Navi of doom that the Beis HaMikdash is going to be destroyed. But he is also the Navi of consolation. Because just like on Shabbos Chazon, the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av, we begin with Chazon Yeshayahu, his prediction, his forecast that the Beis HaMikdash will be destroyed. On the Shabbos afterwards, we begin with his words, the words of Yeshayahu. Nachamu, nachamu ami. Console my people. So he's also the Navi of consolation. And part of the consolation was telling that even though it would be long in coming, but the end would come. The end of Golus, the end of Tsaris, the end of suffering, the end of exile would come. It'll take a long time. And you might despair. You might become frustrated in waiting. You might become impatient. But va'idali edem ne'monim, I am going to designate for you witnesses who are faithful, and they will testify that that bright future will come. And who are my witnesses? As Uriah HaKohen, Uriah the Kohen, the Zechariah ben Yeberchyohu. That is what the pasuk says. So Rabbi Akiva is thinking. He's thinking about what the pasuk says. This pair, this group, this couple that Yeshayahu HaNavi designated to testify that indeed there'll be an end to all tragedies, there'll be an end to all suffering. They're not a good couple. They don't match. Why did Yeshayahu designate these two together, Uriah and Zechariah? Uriah b'mikdash Rishon. Uriah lived during the first Beis Hamikdash. Zechariah b'mikdash Sheni. And Zechariah lived during the second Beis Hamikdash. They couldn't come together and testify. There are centuries between them. Only what it means to say is that both prophecies, the prophecy of Uriah and the prophecy of Zechariah, are interdependent. They depend on one another. Uriah's prophecy, Uriah prophesied, L'chein, therefore, bigla lechem, because of your sins, Tzion Soda Techarash, the Beis Hamikdash will become a field that will be plowed over. The Beis Hamikdash will not anymore be the capital of a community, of a settlement, of a civilization, but it will become an open field. It will be totally destroyed. And it will be plowed over like any field. That total destruction is a punishment for you because of your sins. Zechariah ksiv, and Zechariah prophesied, "Oh, the Yeshu Zekenim Uzekenos Berchovos Yerushalayim." There'll yet come a time when elderly gentlemen and elderly women will sit in the open spaces of Yerushalayim. Well, how can these two prophecies be true? How can we make Uriah and Zechariah stand together and testify things which are so contradictory, things which are so different from one another, destruction and construction? And so Rabbi Akiva drew the conclusion. At Shalonis Kaiman Nevuaso Shal Uriah Hakiti. One prophecy depends on the other. The prophecy of destruction, of devastation, is a prerequisite for the prophecy of construction, consolation, and happiness. At Shalom Niskayim and Nevuaso Shal Uriah, before the prophecy of Uriah was fulfilled, Hayisi Misyore, I was afraid, I was fearful, Shalotiskayim Nevuaso Shal Zechariah. The prophecy of Zechariah would not be fulfilled either. And the streets of Yerushalayim would not be teeming with life once more. Achshav, but now Shniskayim and Nevuaso Shal Uriah. Now I can see that the fox came out of what was once the Holy of Holies, so that the prophecy of Zechariah rings true. B'yaduah, now it should be known. Shenevuaso Shal Zechariah miskayemis b'lashon hazeh. Now I know that the second prophecy will also ring true. And there will come a time when Yerushalayim will be resettled. It will be rebuilt. And it will become again a happy place where elderly citizens can inhabit the streets which will be teeming with life. B'lashon hazeh. Omrulo, they said to him, Akiva nichamtoni, Akiva nichamtonu, Akiva nichamtonu, Akiva, you have consoled us, Akiva, you have consoled us. There's another reading in the Gemara also. According to the En Yaakov's reading, the Gemara ends with the words, Hashem yenachamenu, Amen. May Hashem console all of us, Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Hadrin Allah, Maseches Maakot, Hadrin Allah. Daitun Allah, Maseches Maakot, Daitun Allah.